my name is Ilene Rein. I'm an executive recruiter and job search strategist from Pavement 101. I am here today with Greta Zutz. We are talking about incredibly important topics that for job seekers, for career professionals in general, if you find yourself laid off from a job or you're looking for your next opportunity. And this is information you need to address now, not when it happens, but you need to be aware of it now. So we've spoken about health insurance, life disability insurance. Today we're going to be talking about retirement and what do you do with that 401k and how to roll it over, how to handle the situation when you're leaving a job. And Greta, first of all, let me let you introduce yourself. Go right ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Ilene. I'm Greta Zutz. I'm with Center for Wealth Preservation. I'm a financial specialist. That means my area of planning is exclusively with people that want to learn about benefits and put benefits into their new companies, but also for individuals and families who really want to understand how to plan for the future.
Fantastic. And we've been having a great conversation back and forth on the air and off the air, okay, about this information because, wow, you are just opening my eyes to a lot of things that a lot of these career professionals probably aren't paying attention to because they're doing their job. And this is something that, kind of operates in the background. So for everyone who's watching, I'm going to encourage you to subscribe or follow to get alerts every time we post new content and this video series. So this way you continue to get great information. So Greta, this is something that I know I was a deer in headlights as I switched jobs and wasn't quite sure. And then I forgot about it. So let's talk about those retirement funds, the 401k. What do we do? I'm just going to leave it open for you.
Love it, Ilene. And if you've watched our other videos, we've said, maybe don't Google something as important as, do I need health insurance? How do I switch health insurance? Talk to a professional, talk to someone who really knows how to give you that information. Now, here I do want you to Google, how much money have Americans left behind in former job 401ks? If you work in a nonprofit sector, 403B might be your terminology. That idea, just Google that and find that number. How much money is left behind? I think you have to put air quotes around it, but left behind in old accounts. So
can we do a search for ourselves?
Yeah, see if someone can find that for us.
Excellent. So what do we do? So we can see how much money is left behind. We can find if we've left money behind. Okay, but now what? Because we no longer work at that company. What do we do?
So first and foremost, you have to wait until there is a true separation of service. So I might have been laid off on the 2nd of April, or I might have quit that job and found a much better job working with you, Ilene, that fits me much fits my needs even better on that 2nd of April. But just because I quit or left that day doesn't mean that the company has reported back to the 401k carrier or company provider. This might be a name like Fidelity. This might be your portal that you log on to for your benefits that then has like a different provider for that company. So this is going to be separate than your other benefits. It might be a whole nother login page, but that's like a big name that a lot of people know. So we'll just say Fidelity as a generalization, no other information about it, but just to say maybe that's where the account was held. So you have to wait until the company reports back that you've separated of service. And that's not going to necessarily be your quit day or termination day or your day that you were laid off, but you do want to keep a record somewhere of that date for yourself. Because if I left that job or my last day or my termination was the 2nd of April, I just want to keep that written down somewhere. 4/2/2024 is when I quit. My actual separation of service date might be that exact date, might be a few days in the future because I need to quit. They need to report it to the carrier, and that might not all happen in the exact same day. Why am I saying keep that record? Because once you leave that job, probably in the next calendar year, that 401k or 403b plan really doesn't want the non-employees in the plan, because they are responsible for what happens in the plan, and you're not part of that organization anymore. So sometime over the next 365 days, they're probably going to do an audit and find that you're not on the plan. So you do want to take your money out of the plan. What if they change carriers? What if you change addresses? You don't have your employee portal anymore. You can't pick selections. You can't choose any funds. So you lose control when they process that separation of service, if not sooner, but your money is still there. So imagine now you're going to call and you've accumulated quite a bit of retirement funds and they can't find you and you can't be found, thus resulting in all that money, if you Google that amount, left behind in plans. So really keep a diligent log of the date that you quit or were terminated. Then maybe you can get your separation of service date close to that, because when you call into that carrier to find out where to go with your money or what forms you need, they might need that information from you. Even above your social, date of birth, address, they might use that information to verify you. So that's the first thing, is some record keeping.
When should they be reaching out to you to find out, okay, when should I do this? At what point?
The minute, a lot of people leave this money behind, wait, think about it later. Maybe they get a quarterly statement in the mail and go, oh yeah, I haven't looked at that for a while. But the minute you know you're leaving, or you were maybe told that you're terminated or laid off, you should be reaching out to some kind of planner. Because remember, we're now entering this phase of how are they going to find you? How are you going to easily roll over your money? And sometimes with these plans, depending on the organization and what we call the vesting schedule, that's how long you've been with the company and how much access you have to your money. Let's even go back further. If you're dissatisfied or thinking about leaving, you might want to think about what you're electing into your 401k even a year before you leave. If you're putting in 10%, but you're thinking of maybe leaving that job and that 10% isn't vested for another 3 years, then you just contributed money to something that you can't take. So you really want to—
Let me ask you something about that. By making that change, because I'm always thinking about jobs and switching jobs and protecting the day job while you're looking for a new job. By making that change, is that going to alert HR that you're thinking about leaving?
You don't need to tell anyone in HR that you're changing contributions. But as someone contributing to a 401k plan or a 403b plan, maybe you started your first day and that was 5 years ago and you picked 5% contribution. Well, you should review this annually with your financial planner or someone like me, someone who can oversee your personal plans and your work plans and the coordination of them all. So it's very usual and customary that employees would say, hey, I can't find my login for my 401k. Where is that? I've done it myself in former jobs 20 years ago. So just knowing, where do you log on to see your 401k? If your only relationship with your 401k is your annual statement, I suggest while you're still working at that job, you're reviewing it more than just annually, not necessarily the performance or the changes of the funds, but just to see what else is offered inside that plan. Remember, the 401k was designed late 70s, early 80s, when pension plans started to go away. So the onus of what a 401k is, here's some fun reading again. What is the 401k? It is the tax code that puts the onus back on the employee to save for retirement. Before that, we had pensions. And pensions, maybe a firefighter or a nurse or a teacher. It still exists in very few industries, maybe some unions, that pensions existed, and that was your retirement plus Social Security. Then when pension plans started to dissipate and the onus was taken off of the employer and put on the employee, it's your plan, though you're part of a group. So knowing what options you have in the plan while you're employed, important. Knowing and asking, hey, what do I do when I eventually potentially leave this job, is your right as a consumer, even if you're 22, 23, 24. As you get older and closer to retirement age, you might have a capability called an in-service rollover, lots of jargon there, but that's to say that if I'm past 59 and a half and I'm still working, I might have the ability to divert my 401k or 403b into my own individual account. Why would you want to do that? One reason, simply, when you're in a 401k or 403b, think of it as options at a restaurant. Do you like a lot of options on the menu? Or do you want me to tell you, maybe this is a style of dining we can all experience a few times. There's one chicken, one fish, almost like a wedding. One steak option, one meat option, one vegetarian. Think of a 401k plan as sort of that type of qualified investment retirement plan. So there's not that many investment options in most more 401k plans. There's a good amount, but the world is not your oyster. When you divert it, or when you leave that job or roll over to an individual account, that might be one of your options. Now, a la carte, you can pick the best of the best, the widest of the widest, have lower fees, and space it out even more. That's not to say that the plan that you have individually will necessarily outperform your 401k, but it will give you a lot more options. And when you talk about investments and that word diversification, that's really important. So we have seen it when someone has left a job, forgotten about that number, and we've done an audit for them, and we've been able to find as much as $438,000 left behind by someone in their 40s who left 80 grand here, and so on and so on. Once you have all that money aggregated and you're now rolling it over into your individual account, now you're working with a planner, now you're understanding fee structure, now you might be reviewing your account more than once. But just because you're at work doesn't mean that you can't find the portal and ask for your login and do a little assessment on your own. It shouldn't trigger anything if you dial it up or down your contribution. That's being reported to the carrier that's providing that 401k, and they're looking at a huge, huge number that they're managing. So it's not going to set off anything just by you as an individual dialing up or dialing down your contributions. That's your right.
This is absolutely amazing information that you're sharing with us. And still, some people might be confused because although they're hearing it, they're not quite sure how to implement, how to take action. So we're going to leave Greta's contact information in the comments below or on the screen. We're going to put that somewhere. So this way you can reach out to her. So this way you can get that expert professional advisement, because I think when it comes to your money and your retirement funds, it is incredibly important not to just do an internet search. I'm not going to say Google. There are other search engines, but to go to someone who actually understands the full process and can get you to where you want to be in retirement. Greta, thank you so much for being here. I want to remind everyone to subscribe or follow or add a comment if you're enjoying this series. I'd really like to hear from all of you out there. We're going to be continuing the series, and we're going to be discussing budgets and retirement funds and tax implications. And please go back and watch the videos on health insurance, life and disability insurance. So this way you're prepared, all my career professionals out there. So this way you know how to handle things moving forward as you go to your next job, or, God forbid you get laid off and you now need to address all of these issues. Thank you so much, Greta. My name is Ilene Rein. I'm an executive recruiter and a job search strategist from County Pavement 101.